Okay, so a real simple demo on painting snow, which really isn't that hard. And so this won't be very deep, but it should work just fine. So to start off, I'm going to paint in a sky and just kind of a typical, probably sunny afternoon kind of sky that you might find on a bright day. I'm just going to use one brush because it's mostly just, of course, the basic concept that is really the important thing. So I'm going to go down here, and as it gets closer to the horizon, I'm going to brighten it up a little bit. So a little bit green, a little bit lighter. So just some of the atmosphere and junk we're looking through. Let's make that a little bit more like. And big thing about snow too is you don't have to, you can leave it rough, you can smooth it out. I'm going to just pretty much leave stuff rough right now. But the real key to snow is what's the sky doing. So this is just, again, a standard blue sky, and we'll go ahead and go with that. So say we want some, let's put in some back hills here. So generally speaking, the color of shadows in snow will be very much like the sky color. A little darker maybe depending on the ground, that kind of thing. So I'm going to knock in just a distant hill here, for example. We'll come up a little closer, as we get closer up. And the sky itself, or the snow itself, will be not pure white. Pure white, when a sunny noonday, the flat snow might be pure white, but most of the time it will be, you've got to save the pure whites for when the snow's directly hitting, or when the sun's directly hitting something in the snow. So I'm going to go up and choose kind of a warmer color right here, and not quite white. So knock in some of these snow up here, and this will, let's say we're going down, so where it goes into shadow again, it's going to change, but where it's sunny and it's just kind of getting the general sun, it's going to be just a little bit warmer color. So let me pick up this color again. Got it a little too bright there. And that's not quite white enough, but it does kind of show what I might be talking about. Let's throw in a few parts on the hill there that might be some rocks or something. So landscape, and this will go from pretty cool dark, similar to what the snow is showing, and it will change, of course, on what kind of vegetation's there. As it goes into the sun, it will change. So we're just going to go with it right now. So cooler again, because it's picking up some of the sky color, reflecting some of this blue, but this will vary depending on what the ground is made of. As you come forward, you of course would get darker, so we'll go darker up here, assuming we're going to have a snowy hill right here, and then in the very foreground we'll have some kind of flat areas. So we want to have some rocky areas up here in the sun, so I'm going to go ahead and pick this color. Going to take it down here. It'll be light because the warm sunshine's hitting it, and of course in the back here it's going to be quite a bit lighter. So, and this is just, I'm just winging it, but this will be kind of what you would see, and this might be the darker rocks on it as it comes down. And let's go ahead and make some of this a little darker up here. So it really, really isn't very difficult painting problem if you just kind of pay attention to what you're doing with it. So now I'm just going to make some of the snow coming down on the front side of these. You know, if this is some sort of butte or something in the background. And I could pull some blue into it to add some shadows as the snow's kind of broken as it's coming forward. Probably make this a little bit more, and some, you know, darker areas, of course, here and there. As it goes around here, I might pick to make a little bit of blue coming, or a little bit of this warm coming into the shadows here. Doesn't really matter. So we're going to go ahead and pull some of this like we're going into a foreground. So here's a little valley coming forward. Here is, you know, another little valley coming in this way. You got to pay attention to the direction you're coming, otherwise you could get a little lost in it. I can frequently get lost if I don't pay attention. So we're getting closer, and these things will get darker, or you might want to make some of the stuff in the background a little bit lighter. So some of the maybe rocky areas showing through on the snow. Again, it goes into the shadow here, and we've already got the snow color in, so we don't need to adjust this too much. As you get forward, you will want to bring in some snow into this foreground. So right now we've got pretty much maybe what rocks would look like, and so now I'm bringing some snow into it. I'm going to cool it down a little bit, a little more into the foreground here. A lot of this is just kind of your personal choice on what you're going to do, but you do have to just kind of pay attention to making sure the shadow snow stays very cool and the sunlit snow stays much warmer. So as we go over the edge, maybe a little hill up front here, we'd cool it down a little bit. It's not quite in shadow, and you could have some smaller areas, you know, kind of shadows coming across as it goes. You might want to break some of this up a little bit. That's the pure white, and I don't want to quite use that yet. So you can see what's starting to happen here, and it doesn't take a lot of work to make snow look pretty convincing. So as we get down into the foreground here, let's say that we've got this flat area is reflecting the sky, but it's not quite as dark as the shadows. So we're going to take this lighter blue, and we're going to make this whole foreground, and that maybe is even a little too dark, so we'll move it up. Make this whole foreground basically this color, very, very light. So it is, what it's doing is the flat snow is picking up the brightest, or reflecting the sky the most. It's not till you start getting the snow that's facing your light direction that gets lighter and lighter. So in this, if you've got any objects, so let's put it just a couple of little kind of, I don't care what they are, little rocks or things in here. It's just kind of random doing it. Then what you will do is, of course, make sure that you've got the shadows. So I'm kind of assuming the light's coming in from this direction. So I'll get little light or shadow areas on whatever objects are in here. So again, this is really rough. So don't, take it as like the final solution to doing this. This is just kind of knocking it in, trying to show the basic thought process behind painting snow, and it will really be more up to individuals, or what you want to do with it. But you do want to make sure that it is you're being consistent with your lights and shadows. This is the other thing. In atmospheric perspective, remember that the white colors, whites get darker and cooler, or darker and warmer, where everything else will get cooler. So Snow in the lights here will be warmer, but they will be darker and warmer as you go back, and as we get forward, you will pick up more cools down here. So a few rocks and shadows that they throw, or bushes, or whatever you want. The shadows on here should be darker than the shadows on this back. They're kind of even right now, so we might want to lighten those up just a little bit. And it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of randomness in landscapes anyway. So I'm trying to kind of go with the direction that the landscape would be going, forming a ravine or something, whatever it is back there. So you get to this point, and it's like, okay, so what now? I'm going to pull a little shadow out here a little bit, and let's say I'm going to make it so there's like some sort of little pathway that has gone in here. So, not really, but just to make this a little more obvious on what's going on. So see, I will keep these darks in the shadows, even though right next to them will be these lighter areas lit by the sun. And it doesn't matter, they should be darker than this, but in little areas I wouldn't worry about it too much. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use the brightest brights. So the widest whites in a snow scene will be where the sunlight is hitting an edge that's built up. So for example, but it will be a warmer color. So you want to lean it up into almost white, and then on the edge where maybe the snow's piled up, you're going to get the brightest bright area. So if this is like some sort of ruts or trails or a snowbank coming up on the edge of objects, if there's snow piled up on them, this is going to be where you're going to get these lightest areas. So you can see how much lighter it really is than the snow that's just picking up the sun generally. And that's how it should be. You wouldn't go too far back with it though, because of course the snow will be having atmospheric perspective work on it. But you can pull it along the edges, even down into some of it where maybe the sunlight's penetrating some of the edge rocks. And that is pretty much how you would go about painting a real quick snowy landscape. You've got to decide whether, if you want to cool the colors down a little bit or you want to keep them really bright. You might want to, in the sky or something, for example, even make it a little bit warmer. And I like doing this kind of thing with a little more textured brush so that I'm not, I don't have to pay too much attention to the edge of things. So that's really it. That's kind of as easy as it can be. Doesn't have to be hard. Just keep your brightest brights where the snow is, perpendicular to the light direction coming in. And then where it's on top here, it's going to reflect mostly what the clouds and things are, but light because it is snow. And then on the backside, when you go into shadow, it's going to cool off and get significantly darker. So I'll undo that because that's kind of ugly. So there it is. That's pretty much quick and dirty how to paint snow.